I'm actually going to build myself a press because I've always done it kind of the half-assed way. So I'm going to kind of half-ass build a half-ass press with a bottle jack so I can half-ass press my half-ass Dana 300 together. I got a little 4-ton bottle jack. 4 tons is not much, but I can always upgrade a bigger bottle jack. So I could of course go down to the store and buy a press, stand-up one, but you've all seen how small my shop is, and I don't have the space, and well, I'm a cheap cunt, so I do have some scrap steel, and well, we'll see how it goes around here. Now I gotta head on over to my old tarp garage. Well, it's not really a tarp garage. I framed up some wood here, yet it has tarps for the top because, well, can't afford any sheet metal. But tarps, they were $3 each at Princess Auto. Anyways, the way I do most of my projects around here, and you probably noticed with that vinyl transfer tape thing, I just use whatever I got around. And that brings me to this. This was the old headache rack on a semi-truck trailer, and it's quarter wall, 2-inch square tube. I've been cutting pieces off it for years now. Whenever I needed a couple pieces, I'd come out here and buck it off, but I don't know. I'm thinking between here and here, I might have myself some space to build myself a bottle jack. So, step one around here, drag this piece of shit out without breaking anything. I'm probably gonna have to. Oh, and before you guys say, oh, you got some mint shit in there, I don't have mint shit in here. And before you crackheads think you're gonna steal my shit, that stuff's locked up. I just put cameras up. Fuck off. Don't come take my shit. Woo. Look, what do we have here? Tarp garage fun. That's a big old Black Widow. Look at that bastard. Oh, yeah, welcome to my life. Not very happy with me. Oh, boys. Looks like I got some cutting ahead of myself. Next step is I got some scabby bottles. Woo, easy. Mint. Moment of truth. Oh, nice. Perfect. So, now, I gotta cut that rack apart and mount this on the thing that can slide up and down in between that rack. And oh, she's a screamer. Nice. Okay, so now bear with me. Got my old Project Cheap Finder workbench here, and so what I'm figuring I'm gonna do is buck this off here, make some little feet or something, make a bit more of a platform, and then I need to use this piece I cut off of there for the crossbar, which is going to sit across here with the bottle jack on top. I'm going to need to get a couple springs to either side so it'll always hold itself back up. I'm going to put a bigger, thicker base plate with a couple of gussets underneath, and then when you bottle jack, it's going to be up here. It's going to slide down the piece of 2-inch that I'm going to make some little collars that'll hold on there, and it will just press, in theory. I don't know, maybe it's a horrible idea, but collar good. I don't know, probably spend 6 hours doing it and I could just go spend $140 on it. Half an hour cutting later and 1.5 cutting discs. I got my frame cut out here, so we're winning. Couple more pieces to cut. I was just about to go grab a piece of steel for the bottom here, and I figured I would show you my wonderful steel collection location. I've got this real little alcove in here. This is why I'm building it out of random stuff, because I have a whole bunch of random stuff. And this right here, 4.5 inches. Something nice and crusty. So, I'll buck a couple inches off this. Oh, living the dream. Oh, what a burn. It's not even 4.5. It's tapered. Where the hell did I get that? Oh, such a burn. Well, I gotta put it back in the hole then. Okay, found another scrap. Bottom. Oh boys, we're real close to making this look like a press here. So I'm gonna buck a piece out of this. And then do a whole bunch of wire wheeling. Ugh. After chowing way too much grinder shum and paint crap, I got all these pieces cut and cleaned up. I just got to fire up the old sparkle machine and blap all these together. I'm gonna tack it all first, make sure it all works mint, and burn it all in. It's gonna be satisfying bench welding all this. Team Canada helmet on point. So, got the press all tacked up. I got it all together at this point. All I'm needing is a couple of big springs, and I'm going to come up with something for a little pocket for that, and burn it all in, and we'll get a tester out here shortly. Looks good. Pretty happy with it. It's definitely not light, and I got nice big gaps like this because reusing that piece, but hey, way she goes when you're scabbing shit in the shop. I got the press all tacked up. Just found some random springs in a box. They're different rates, so it kind of drops a little different. So I'm gonna buy myself a couple of equal springs. But it's pretty much time to throw it back in the shop and burn it all together and give a first press. But looking pretty good, and pretty stoked with it so far. Well, it's a couple days later. I slapped a coat of paint on her, and it took a couple days to dry. And so of course I own a decal machine, so I fabbed up a couple decals for the old half-ass press, and one there to remind me not to suck when I'm pressing it. So overall, I'm pretty stoked. Had to go to the parts store, buy myself some 8-inch springs. They were $9 a piece. That was really the only out-of-pocket expense on the whole project. I used one cutter disc, a little bit of a grinder, a little bit of paint. Everything else I scrounged from the yard. This is only a 4-ton jack. We'll see how long it lasts, or if it can push hard enough. But to put my Dana 300 together, it'll work. I know the base isn't adjustable, but honestly, I've been wrenching on my truck for 20 years without a press. Never really needed it. The only thing I need it for is a Dana 300. This will fit perfect for a Dana 300. If I got to put a couple pieces underneath, keep a couple pieces of plate underneath, that'll be good. If I got to press something bigger, I'll just have to find a bigger press. But overall, decent project. Well, that's kind of how you build a half-ass press. Next time you see the press, I'm going to be working back on this thing. Of course, I have to put one Dana 300 together, the wrong one, sell it. I have to pull my new one apart. I have to pull my broken one apart. And then I have to put my broken one together with my new one and put them both back together and then put them in my truck. So, such is life. I gotta get to it. So, stay tuned. We'll get the Pathmaker back on the trail. Cheers.